Hi, my name is Vincent O'Sullivan. I'm with the Heritage in School scheme, and I'm going to bring you on a trip today that I normally bring schools on. We're here based on Cullahill Mountain. This is where it starts generally. This is a mass path here, leads up onto the mountain, and that's where we'll be starting today. As we walk up the path through the hazels, nearby is a waterfall. It's called the Cummer Waterfall. It's a really lovely feature on the mountain. The water, as it flows down, goes through shale, the local rock, leaving a kind of a layered effect, which looks really well. And generally, growth beside the waterfall and throughout the mountain is a wild grass called woodrush, which dominates mainly the undergrowth. We're here at the Cummer Well. You can see it here behind me. It's an ancient well used by the people on the mountain for centuries. It was really good quality water that people used it for drinking tea mainly. There's other wells they use for washing and that kind of thing, but this was renowned for its quality. It was important in a sense that the people that collected the water were mainly women, and they would meet here regularly and have a chat about what was happening locally and that kind of thing. But carrying the water back, usually they have 2 buckets to carry back, was torturous work, especially if it was a long distance. But the well was a very important part of society back then. Next we have another historical site. This is called a monument bush. It refers to Cullahill Castle. Cullahill Castle was built in 1425 by the MacGillipadraics or Fitzpatricks, who were lords of Upper Austria at the time. In 1650, Oliver Cromwell invaded Ireland, and sometime around that time his soldiers attacked Cullahill Castle, leaving it in ruins. Cormac MacGillipadraic, one of the lords, was escaped but was captured on the mountain here and was slain. He was buried at this site. Locals planted a whitethorn tree over his grave. The remains of it is there. They created this stone structure around the tree as a monument to him. The significant part is this structure is in line with the castle below. While there's lots of history on the mountain, nature dominates. It's springtime, middle of April, and the weather is quite warm for the time of year. You see lots of wildflowers starting to appear. You have celandine and other flowers, the violet, and I suppose furze bushes with a blossom on it. It's a really lovely aroma. Leaves at the moment coming out, you have hazel, whitethorn, and you have the blossom on the blackthorn. Others, I suppose, would be the frockin bush. Frockin, that would be blueberry, a wild form of blueberry. It's starting to, berries on that are starting to appear. It's just a wonderful time, and it's just a wonderful unspoilt area. I'm standing with a ring fort or a rath behind me and 2 whitethorn bushes. You can see them there growing from the side of it. A ring fort or a rath date back to St. Patrick's time, and they were first of the farm homesteads at the time. They were generally circular areas with palisade fence around them, which would contain farm animals, and people lived in them, just mainly families. This particular rath is up very high, so it's probably not lived on. It was a defensive rath and maybe used in ceremonial times for burials or for christenings, that kind of thing. The other main feature on this particular rath was probably that it could warn other people in raths down in the lowlands if there was an enemy coming or whatever, by way of smoke signals, which was typical of the time. The other interesting thing about raths would be sometimes they're referred to as fairy forts, where the little people were part of the folklore of raths. I haven't heard anything about little people up here on the mountain, but people tell me that in the past there used to be hurling games on a summer's night, or sometimes under moonlight. That's part of the folklore of the mountain. This area behind me here, a hollowed out area up here on Cullahill Mountain, is to do with a legend on the mountain. It refers to Fionn McCool and the devil, who had a fight at the Devil's Spit in Tipperary. Some say that the fight went on for 3 days, but eventually Fionn McCool escaped and arrived over here on the mountain on a horse, and he's alleged to have slept in this hollow for 2 nights, and he tied his horse to the tree over beyond. That's really the legend of Fionn McCool on Cullahill Mountain. An unusual feature on the mountain are the walls. It's just like a small part of Connemara. The stone walls signify from the fields from the past, I suppose, when they're really small and numerous farmers own them. They're really a valuable resource to hold on to. They're valuable also for the flora and fauna in the area, and they're part of our culture. I'm standing in the ruins of a pre-famine farmhouse. We're in the kitchen. You see behind me here the fireplace, flags on the floor, that was standard of the time, and next door is the bedroom. And in the bedroom you have a back-to-back fireplace, so it's just one chimney. And on the roof you would have had attached house, it would be thatched roof. That's really it. It was fairly basic for the time, and that's all people had, and they were happy at the time. This is an area where we bring the children in, usually to take a photograph at this point, but I just point out to them the stone structure that's behind me here, and the way the trees can grow on such a barren area. You can see the roots over the rocks there going down into the earth. This in the 70s, this was just firs and brambles and that kind of thing, and it was planted then, and these trees are that age at this stage. It's just a nice area to visit. During the visit we cover history, geography and science. But more importantly, it's a great day out for everybody, both children and for adults, in a totally natural environment. And if you're lucky on the way, you might see some local wildlife.